This is the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.
That's right. Welcome one, welcome all to the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com, where we are breaking down all of your District 5, 5 and 6 activities week in, week out. My name is Brandon Baney, and we are joined by Sean Kane, our East Idaho resident and expert. What's up, Sean?
Oh, hey, it's almost been 48 hours and 18 of them have been on the tennis court. So I'm great.
Yeah, so let's start off with that. For those that may not know, Sean is a teacher at Century High School in Pocatello, and he also moonlights as the tennis coach for the Diamondbacks. Of course, with your district, it's just Century and Pocatello. Preston doesn't have tennis, so it's kind of an interesting district tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it's just two teams. We get it done in 2 days, but the thing you have to think about is you end up either playing your own team or you end up playing someone a couple times in a row. So, it's there's not going to be a bunch of different matches. You end up having a lot of the same matchups, but it was really good. Today we finished up. Century boys won the overall team championship of boys, and that's a three-peat for them. And the Pocatello girls ended up winning the team overall. A nice job for them. As far as the individuals qualifying for state, and that's where it kind of becomes hard because we only get to send one rep. In boys singles, Daniel McGee of Century won over Ethan Myler of Century in the boys singles final. Reagan Lyon of Pocatello beat Belle Miller in a 3-set, and we don't play a third set. We play a 10-point tiebreaker, and it was Reagan won 14-12 in that 10-point tiebreaker. Very, very good match. Belle Miller from Century, only a freshman. Reagan is a sophomore, but a very good match. And then in boys doubles, which was really entertaining, at the end of the season, Pocatello put their two boys, their best singles players together, their seniors, to try to get them to state. And they ended up playing, my boys in the final. But we lost yesterday after beating them in the regular season. So Century boys doubles had to win twice today to make it to state. And as far as we've been doing the two-team district, which has been a handful of times throughout the years, no one's ever done that until today. The Century boys team of Will Argle and Cy Wills won twice today, coming back from losing yesterday to head to state. So that was a pretty cool feat. And that also went to a 10-point tiebreaker in the third. Girls doubles, Naomi Shipley and Brooklyn Haymore of Pocatello won over Megan Sutton and Allie Bitten of Century. And then in mixed doubles, the other qualifier was from Century, Lauren Assand, who's going to play golf at ISU next fall, and Shaden Jepson won. So, and they also won in a 10-point tiebreaker. So it was, there was a lot of, drama and action today out at Capel Park and in Chubbuck, but where the weather wasn't great, the action on court was pretty heated.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good way to spin that. We talked about Lauren Assand a lot during the fall golf season, of course, and Will Argle, of course, is a Grace Lutheran student, but
the Dennis Rodman of that division of basketball is how I describe him. Couldn't be like the nicest kid, just real nice. He wants to be a minister. He's going to a Concordia University in St. Paul next year, and he wants to be a minister when it's all said and done. And he's just the nicest kid, but man, on the basketball court, he's kind of ruthless. But yeah, he's awesome, and he did a great job today. But I always call him the Dennis Rodman of that division of basketball.
Yeah, for sure. In the Lutheran church, there's like Concordia universities all over the United States, right? And they're all for the same purpose. There's one in like Nebraska, one in Washington. They're all over the place. So again, congrats to all of our tennis athletes. State is coming up, and we're excited to see how our East Idaho athletes do at the state tennis tournament. All right. Speaking of the postseason, Sean, it is time to break out the brackets once again. We will go through all of the district tournament brackets. A lot of teams from East Idaho have already wrapped up their spots at state. We are recording this on Wednesday night, May 10th. And so as we're recording this, there's a lot of actually even today teams that officially clinched their spots. So it's going to be pretty interesting to take a look at all of these different brackets. Let's start in softball, Sean, where at the very top of the bracket here, we've had some interesting developments. And again, if you're watching the video version of this on the IdahoSports.com YouTube channel, I'm sharing my screen so you can see those brackets up on your screen. Maybe make it full screen so it's a little easier to see. If you're listening at IdahoSports.com or wherever you download your podcasts, that's all right. We've got all the district brackets on our website as well, and you can follow along there. All right, 5A, High Country Conference, District 5 and 6. Upset in the undefeated semifinal Tuesday night, Sean, where number 2 Rigby defeats number 1 Thunder Ridge 14-1. And so now Thunder Ridge will have to play Highland tomorrow at Rigby High. The winner of that will then play the Trojans for the district championship. But we saw this in girls basketball as well, right? Where Thunder Ridge was the team to beat in the regular season, but Rigby was the team that when districts rolled around, got the wins.
Yeah, and I was talking with Robert Parker, the athletic director of Pocatello High School today, and kind of just talking to him about their baseball and softball, and we'll get there. But the thing he started talking to me about was this game yesterday in softball. He couldn't believe the score here, and he actually said, Rigby is kind of a team people have kind of been looking past, just with how many good teams are in that district in the 5A. But yeah, Rigby, 14-1 is a pretty big win over a very talented Thunder Ridge team.
Yeah, so a huge win for Rigby. And of course, they only have to win once to get to state. Whoever wins this Thunder Ridge Highland matchup would have to beat Rigby twice to get the auto bid to state. But fear not for the second place team. They do have a chance to fight their way in via a state tournament play-in game. But again, the Rigby Trojans looking good at the right time of year. All right, let's go to the 4A ranks and the High Country Conference, where this is a game that is probably happening as we're recording this. It is number 1 Hillcrest, number 3 Blackfoot in the undefeated semifinal. Hillcrest defeated Shelley in the quarterfinals 6-3, and a high slugging game here where number 3 Blackfoot defeated number 2 Idaho Falls on Tuesday night 15-12. So we've got kind of a double dip tonight at Hillcrest we've got a triple header, excuse me.
Yeah.
Shelley is hosting Skyline in a loser out game. Idaho Falls is hosting Bonneville in a loser out game. And then Hillcrest, of course, is hosting Blackfoot in the undefeated semifinal. There's still a lot to sort out here. This is one of the few tournaments that actually hasn't progressed that far yet.
Yeah. It's a conference that's got some meat to it, right? There's a good amount of teams, and I think I talked about Shelley being a tough team, and they came and they gave Hillcrest everything they could take, and then Blackfoot again is a team that's been on the radar. We talked about Blackfoot last week. I wonder if that same girl had some hits in that game versus Idaho Falls in a high scoring game. But yeah, there's still a lot of games to be played there.
Yeah, we talked about last week. Gigi Wieland was the freshman who she's a freshman, and she came off the bench in a couple of pinch hit situations and got a couple of big home runs. So Hillcrest still the favorite there, but Blackfoot, no denying they've got a lot of momentum here. And can there be an upset in either of these loser out games? As you're listening to this, probably tomorrow, Thursday the 11th, you'll know the results already. So it'll be kind of fun to see how it all shook out. But that's what's going on in the High Country Conference. In District 5, you've got Century and Preston. They already played. Century won that game. Clearly, we didn't update the bracket. And then Pocatello had to play Century. Pokey, of course, won that game. And so you've got tomorrow, Preston and Century again. And this is what makes these 3-team brackets so difficult, Sean.
Yeah, I know all about it. And yeah, they, again, I was talking to Robert Parker, the AD of Thunder, Pocatello Thunder, and he was, we were just talking about, the realistic chance of this softball team, and they're 24-0, right? The girls from Thunder, Pocatello Thunder, are 24-0, and he said a lot of people like they've played too many games and blah, blah, blah. And there's been kind of some of that. But I mean, I was talking to some other coaches about tennis this year, and you win. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day what the score is. If you win the games and how many games you played or whatever, if you're the winner at the end, that's what matters. And I think that's what the Thunder have been able to do this year, is just flat out win games.
Yeah, it's been pretty impressive to watch Pocatello, as they are one of 2 undefeated teams still in the state of Idaho in softball. Malad is the other. We'll get to them in just a moment. All right, let's talk about at the 3A ranks, where we've already got this kind of wrapped up here. South Fremont is your district champions. The Cougars back at state for the second year in a row. They swept the championship series with Teton, winning 10-9 and 18-14 last Friday. So South Fremont on to state. Teton will now battle Snake River. They're playing in a regional play-in game actually tonight. The winner of that will then have to play McCall Donnelly. So either Teton or Snake River is going to have to win twice to get to state.
Yeah, and it just kind of tough, have to win twice, but both pretty good teams. I kind of like Snake River coming out of this, but you can't ever look past McCall Donnelly. That's a tough little, for a side bracket off of coming from your district tournament. That's just a tough bracket there.
Yeah, for sure. So South Fremont, we talked about last year, got to state. They were the 7 seed. They beat Marsh Valley, the 2 seed in the opening round. We'll see if the Cougars can get it going once again. They've got a lot of really talented hitters. It's a good offense there for South Fremont. Okay, 3A District 5, Marsh Valley, your district champs. They beat Snake River in the championship 18-8. We talked about, Snake River, the 3 seed. They were basically tied with American Falls. It came down to the coin flip to who got the 3 and who got the 2. We talked about this a little bit last week. American Falls got that 2 seed. They went 2 and out. And so Snake River finds themselves now in this play-in game with Teton. And really, I think with a puncher's chance, you've got 2 number 3 seeds here fighting for a chance to move on.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good battle. And again, almost a coin flip. Teton's been good. Snake River's been good. It'll just kind of, I think, who comes out of the gate the strongest. A lot of times in those playing games, if you come out strong at the start, you can finish. So maybe who gets off to the hot start, maybe.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see for sure. Let's go to the 2A ranks, where today, Sean, earlier today on Wednesday, May 10th, West Jefferson won the Nuclear Conference tournament, defeating North Fremont 13-1. That was a 1-2. West J advances to state. North Fremont now finds themselves in a state play-in game against the second place team from District 5. I'll admit, I think North Fremont probably wins that game and gets to state as well from District 6.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And West Jefferson's been one of those good teams all year. Are they undefeated as well? Is West, or is that?
No. Remember, they went to that Utah tournament
in
the season and took a lot of losses against much bigger schools.
Yeah.
They're very good, no doubt.
Maybe undefeated in Idaho.
They had to play Idaho Falls at that Utah tournament.
Oh, okay.
But technically that was in Utah, so maybe.
Yeah. But they've won a lot of games. But yeah, I like West Jefferson, and North Fremont's no slouch. I like them coming out of that play-in game as well.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll keep an eye on the Huskies there. 2A District 5, you've got Malad and Bear Lake in the district championship game, the undefeated semifinal. Malad won that game. We like the Dragons here. They are the team besides Pocatello that is still undefeated in the state of Idaho for softball.
Yeah, they're breathing the right kind of fire right now, right? I mean, and that fire is the winning fire. And and we talked about the Bear Lake and Westside one being close, and it definitely was 14-10, but I like Malad.
Yeah, it's Malad playing Bear Lake today for the district championship there, and we like Malad to win that game. All right, Sean, let's shift to baseball, where today, earlier this afternoon at Thunder Ridge, the Highland Rams officially clinched their spot at state. They had lost to Thunder Ridge in the championship game 4-3 on Tuesday night, which set up the winner-take-all championship. Thunder Ridge had to beat Highland twice to win the district title. Highland regrouped. They went to Thunder Ridge. They won 12-2 today. So Highland advances to state. Thunder Ridge will now have to play a Boise team to try and see if they can get to state as well.
Yeah, and And I like Thunder Ridge. I think they're a strong team too, and good job by Highland to finish off that tournament. I know people were pretty surprised with that 4-3 win, but it was so close. It was anyone's kind of game to kind of just snatch up, but Highland took care of business today, and good job by them. And I kind of like Thunder Ridge maybe coming out, but I guess it just kind of depends on what team comes. But Thunder Ridge is no slouch.
Yeah, all depends on the matchup, of course. Okay, the High Country Conference in 4A District 6, the championship series is happening tonight, Sean. It's number 1 Bonneville, number 2 Blackfoot. The Bees took the first game 9-2. If they win the second game, which is ongoing right now, they would win the championship. But to be honest, both Bonneville and Blackfoot advanced to state because there's 2 teams from this district. So this district championship series is for bragging rights and a district trophy only. Both teams are moving on to state, and I think both teams have a real shot to do some damage.
Yeah, and just talking to some people around the state, they think both these teams are very solid and will do well at state. And the bragging rights just kind of might lead to some good motivation, good vibes going into the tournament.
Yep. So good luck to both Bonneville and Blackfoot as they get to state. 4A District 5, Pocatello, your district champ. Moving on to state, they beat Preston in the district championship game on Tuesday, 11-1. And the Thunder are, this 4A tournament to me is pretty wide open. There's a lot of really good teams in the classification.
Yeah. Talking again to Robert Parker, they Skyview is really strong. They think Skyview's a potential very strong team.
And yet Skyview is the number 1 seed from District 3, lost their first game at districts. They did win today in a loser out game, but they are behind the 8 ball a little bit.
Yeah.
So Skyview may not even get there, which could really open it up.
And then I have to give the Pocatello Thunder because they tagged me, my Twitter on the bottom here. They tagged me and for their district championship, the first team finally to throw me in there, but it was really good to hear from them. And, Brody Bunch, who's also a really good runner. He went 5 complete innings, 8 Ks, 2 hits and 0 earned runs. And he's also a phenomenal runner. So he's, congrats to them. And I like the Thunder. I like the Thunder in the state tournament. I like their offensive power, and Birch, they've got some good pitching.
Yeah, Brody Birch from Pocatello, dual sport athlete, doing a great job there. Let's move to the 3A ranks, where Sugar Salem closed out the Mountain Rivers Conference last Friday by sweeping South Fremont in the best of 3 championship series. Not only that, they didn't allow a single run. 9-0 win, 10-0 win. Sugar advancing to state. South Fremont is playing Snake River right now in a regional play-in game. And again, between South Fremont and Snake River, they would have to win twice to get to state. But Sugar Salem back at state, they had a top 4 finish a year ago with a very young team, looking good.
Yeah, it looks good there. I think we kind of picked Sugar out of this one, so for once we were right. But yeah, I like Sugar, and I just think for a team like Sugar, the more experience they get moving forward in this tournament, they're going to be back. Whatever happens going on, it's just going to gain a lot of experience. And it'll be interesting to see who comes out of the Snake River, South Fremont, and then a whole nother game. It's just crazy to me.
Whoever advances will be behind the 8 ball. District 3 is very talented this year, so it'd be a tough challenge for them for sure. District 5. So we talked about Marsh Valley. They win the district championship over Snake River 5-3. How about Snake River beating American Falls in a loser out game 1-0? Margin for error was really thin there, and they pushed Marsh Valley pretty good in the championship. Can the Panthers keep it rolling against South Fremont in this state play-in game?
Maybe. To play Marsh Valley that close, I kind of found that score surprising. Just after the first score, but just we know Marsh Valley is really good. We know what they bring to the table, but for Snake River, it's got some momentum. So, if any team's kind of coming in with the mindset that they can win some games, it's Snake River Panthers at this point.
For sure. And finally, we'll wrap up with the 2A ranks, the Nuclear Conference Tournament. It's all been settled. Firth defeated Chalice Mackey in the championship game, 8-2. We talked about Chalice Mackey and North Fremont were pretty much even Steven this year for that second spot to try and compete to go to state. North Fremont actually won the tournament opener against the River Cats 3-2, but Chalice Mackey won the game that counted 6-3 in the loser out. And so now you've got a state play-in game on Saturday at Hallowell Park in Pokey, Bear Lake against Chalice Mackey to see who gets to go to state. That should be a fantastic game.
Yeah, I think that'll just be really good. And Bear Lake's been playing well at the end of the season. And you know what I've noticed when we've looked at these brackets, a lot of 3 seeds have kind of been the ones moving on. Like I should have kept track, but there's been a lot. So that's kind of a interesting statistic to keep track of as we go forward. How do these third seeded teams end up doing if they make it to state? You know what I mean? It's kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, I think the leagues were so close this year that the gap between 3 and 2 really wasn't that significant. And finally, 2A District 5, the Southeast Idaho Conference. Malad won the district championship 1-0 over Bear Lake. How about that? And now Bear Lake fighting for their lives on Saturday against the River Cats. But Malad back at state in baseball.
Yeah, Malad, it's a good team as well, and they've done well. But a lot of close scoring games. Sometimes in the baseball, it kind of piles on and you get a little bigger scores. But there's been a lot of close games. I mean, Bear Lake beat Soda Springs 24-1 and then just come up 1 run short. That district championship is good for them. But I like Malad going forward.
For sure. Too bad they couldn't have bankrolled some of those 24 runs they scored against Soda Springs to use in that Malad game. But
they use the same bats. Do they change bats? I don't know, but
right. Yeah, unfortunately. But good luck to Bear Lake on Saturday as they battle to get to state. All right, Sean. Well, here on the podcast next week, we will take the week off because I know you're preparing for state tennis. You're going to be a busy guy, but also we'll do our annual state baseball tournament live preview show with all of the broadcasters on IdahoSports.com. Once again, IdahoSports.com will broadcast every single pitch with live and free video coverage, every state baseball tournament right here on IdahoSports.com. It'll be a really fun time.
Yeah, I mean, those first round games last year were pretty exciting. So I imagine there's going to be a lot of the same. Baseball seems to be, I think more of baseball than softball, but baseball, there seems to be a lot of upsets. Like the seed, you can throw the seeds out when you get to state for baseball and sometimes softball, but I like the, it'll be interesting to see what you guys all think of who's going to win and go, someone should keep a tally of it. Maybe you guys do your pictures of your heads and who picked who, kind of like ESPN, and, whoever does worst, we can make fun of later, but, it's hard to pick some of those games. I think when you get down to it, it'll be hard to say for sure, I think this team's going to win. You know what I mean? And that's makes the parity great for that state tournament.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun for sure. And of course, the tournament I'm broadcasting is the 1A tournament, which doesn't have any teams from East Idaho, but that'll be a lot of fun.
Well, you're the Idaho expert, Brandon, so I think you'll be okay.
That's true. So, spoiler alert, a team from the North is probably going to win. In the history of 1A baseball, a team from the North has won every single year. So,
wow.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks for tuning into the East Idaho Prepcast, everybody. We will be back with Sean in 2 weeks. We will recap all of the spring sports championships, track and field, tennis, golf. That's right. Small school golf in the spring.
I forgot.
Yes. And also, of course, state baseball as well. So, Sean, good luck at state tennis.
Thank you.
And we will see you back here for another edition of the East Idaho Prepcast. It'll be our state baseball tournament preview special next week here on IdahoSports.com.